All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here again, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. Today, it's Grand, ladies and gentlemen. The band Grand, pretty easy to remember. Their self-titled debut album. It's a band from Sweden, of course. This is pop rock with hardcore 80s top 40 sensibilities. Go listen to Caroline. Look, this isn't testosterone music. This is much lighter. And, the vocalist, he's got a very high tenor. So some people have said, oh, this guy is kind of, he's not really my cup of tea. Yeah, this isn't, rugged outlaw country music, right? This is Grand. It's really good, though. And I think you should check it out. If you like the 80s and you like new material, Grand, check it out, courtesy of Frontiers Music. So this morning I get up and I got this message from one of my informants, Davey B. We'll call him Davey B. Davey B and the boys, right? No, just Davey B. And he sent me a screenshot of a message over on Facebook. And Neal and his wife, they post things together, or Neal's wife posts things. And she decided to repost something by a guy who claims to be the biggest Journey fan ever. People ask me, they say, Dave, this Journey thing, what do you think? And my first response is, it's really good for my channel. It just is. It's really good for my channel. Look, I want these guys to figure this out. I really do. But in the meantime, it's a lot of fun to cover this and also to see what fans are saying. And this gentleman, Kenny, has this picture of Steve Perry that I'm not sure when this was taken. I'm assuming fairly recently. And if you're a Steve Perry fan, you probably already know about the picture of Steve Perry pointing at the Golden Gate Bridge, the city by the bay. The lights have gone down and the fog has come in. It has rolled in, and Steve Perry pointing at the bridge. Steve with his new gray-haired locks. I'm sure he's had this hair all his life. What I'm saying is he let it go natural, and he looks happy in the photo. Although he's wearing this jacket, he might be a little chilly. I'm not sure. Anyway, he says, this is what this guy Kenny says in the caption here. It's actually a bit of a speech. It's pretty good. He says, hey, brother, hello, brother Steve Perry, you're pointing in the wrong direction. Keep in mind, he's pointing at the bridge. Stay right where you are. Don't move your body. But you need to point your finger straight ahead of you. Why? Because the real reason the world knows who you are, and the real reason the whole world loves you, is the man who lives about 20 minutes straight ahead of you. Not that bridge. Oh, I know. We all love that bridge here in the Bay Area. But the real reason for Journey, its existence, its music, its fame, its global celebrity and success is Neal Schon, a great man who's loved you from the beginning. Kenny says, get in your Lamborghini, drive north 20 minutes, treat him to a cup of coffee, and thank him for making all your dreams come true. In love and peace, the greatest Journey fan on this planet, Kenny. Wow. So Kenny has a point of view. Do I share Kenny's point of view? Do I share? Yeah, I'm leaning in that direction. However, the Steve Perry fans have come in very strongly, as they always do. One fan says he gave a very, very public speech praising Neal and every member of the band. It was very classy. Another, I'm guessing you didn't see his speech at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. He even gave a shout out to Arnel Pineda. Yeah, he said that Arnell sings his heart out every night, and yes, I've parsed that that praise. Singing your heart out every night is quite different from "Wow, what an amazing singer Arnell Pineda is." There is a difference, people. And here's the other thing about the Hall of Fame. I know on very good, I have some very good sources that told me a while back that Perry did not want to attend the Hall of Fame. He did not want to go. But I think he made a last minute decision to be there, or fairly last minute. He didn't perform at the Hall of Fame. They really wanted him to perform. They were willing to tune things down and make it easy for him to perform. That would have been a show stopping epic moment in the history of the Hall of Fame. Instead, he gave a really great speech. I'm not saying he didn't give a great speech. And yes, he did thank everybody involved, including his attorney. Okay, so to have a balanced view of this is the way I look at the Hall of Fame. Perry went. He was extremely diplomatic. He was complimentary. He did say, I guess, something positive about Arnell. But again, the way I look at that is, I could sing my heart out every night and people would be like, oh, crap, stop. Don't sing your heart out every night. Just don't sing anymore. Maybe if they had brought Perry in to find his replacement, hey, Steve, who do you think should replace you? Steve would say, obviously, nobody, right? The band wanted to go on. And I think Kenny here is talking about how everybody got along great in the old days. There are all of these great pictures of the band when they were hitting on all cylinders. Neal Schon, I remember like 4 or 5 years ago when he was upset with Jonathan Cain, he was talking a lot about the chemistry of the band and how everything was off the hook. I remember Neal posting pictures, and a lot of those pictures were of himself and Steve Perry. Steve Perry, even though he was very diplomatic at the Hall of Fame, later on, during the Traces period, where he's doing all these interviews, he does this interview with Andy Green. And if you subscribe to Rolling Stone, I think you can go back in the archives and read the interview. Perry is not complimentary of anybody, especially Jonathan Cain and Neal Schon. In fact, he says some real harsh things. And Andy Green personally confirmed that information with me when Neal Schon was essentially sending me messages back via social media saying, no, I believe that Perry, he didn't say that. And the media just kind of made all this stuff up. And Andy Green said, no, he said these things. And he got visibly upset, especially when the topic of Jonathan Cain came up. Certainly upset about Neal, but even more so about Jonathan Cain. But we've learned, because of this whole lawsuit situation, that Steve Perry does seem to be a real stickler for details. In other words, if Journey's going to file a trademark, he's going to want to know about that, even if he's not written into that original agreement. But again, maybe the courts are going to say it's implied that you need to call Steve Perry if you're going to do anything like this. It's written in this contract, even though it doesn't cover trademarks. It's an implied thing. And I don't know how that's going to work out. The courts are going to have to figure that out, unless they settle this without going to court, which there is a possibility of that. But now that Perry has lawyered up again, or, if he had gotten this early enough, I think he could have just told the trademark office, no, I didn't sign off on this. Please look at my request to stop with these trademarks. And I think the trademark office would have complied with that. But now, because it's after the fact somewhat, it seems to me that this is going to have to work itself out in court, or possibly between lawyers trying to work out an agreement outside of court. Maybe Perry just wants in on the trademark revenue. Maybe he's going to say, sure, you guys want to do this? You better cut me in on it. Or he's going to say, you know what? I don't want the words "who's crying now" on a coffee mug. That's just stupid, right? So we'll see how it goes. But for some fans, and I think Kenny is one of those fans, this just seems like it's too much. Neal and John are the guys working the brand, and Darnell and everybody else involved with this, all of the players. Poor Dean Castronovo, he never even gets a shout out, right? Through all of this. Great drummer, great guy, really carries this band a lot of times on his back with his drumming and his great singing. A lot of people just don't even think about him, but he is just an incredible musician. I've never heard Steve Perry talk about Dean Castronovo, not one time. And Castronovo can sing. Some people think he is closer to Perry than Arnell is. But getting back to Arnell, imagine being Arnell and constantly hearing about Steve Perry every single day. Perry's in the news again. Perry filed a lawsuit. Perry's got a Christmas album. Perry's got music. Perry showed up somewhere. And Arnell, you know, I prefer the humble servant character, and Arnell is the humble servant. And you could say everybody else in this situation, you know, whether it's Neal or Perry or Neal's wife or Jonathan Cain or Jonathan Cain's wife even, I don't know. I hate to bring everybody in and then back the bus up over them, but it gets a little tedious. And Kenny touches on that with the whole Lamborghini comment, you know? Yeah, take your Lamborghini and drive it up there. I mean, folks, the people who are listening to this music, a lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck. You know, we can't have these thoughts of, oh, you know, I wish I could increase my cash flow. And I was, you know, bringing in a couple of million per month. But, you know, with these trademarks, I might be able to get it up to 2.3 million a month or whatever. You know, I'm just throwing out arbitrary numbers here. I don't know exactly who's making what, but somebody sent me a message saying that Steve Perry is probably worth over $100 million. And I'm sure Neal Schon is in the tens of millions. And I'm not sure where Arnell is or where Dean is. But those two guys are worth just as much as anybody else in this band for helping the brand continue, for helping line the pockets of everybody involved, including Perry, who, for better or worse, you know, seems to be really focused on that. It would be nice if Perry would go out there and entertain people. Like, do a show, Steve. You know, he said, you know, how many years ago, back in like the year 2000, when that first documentary came out, 1999, whenever that was, that, yeah, he's been thinking about touring. He's been thinking about touring. Okay. It's been over 20 years. You know, how about a Steve Perry tour? How about a one night only concert extravaganza? You know, pick a big arena somewhere, sell the thing out, and have, you know, a concert for all of these fans. And there are a lot of fans that come to Steve's defense here on this thread, stating how great he was at the Hall of Fame and how, again, if it wasn't for Steve Perry, Journey would be nothing. And see, I don't agree with that. I think Journey was something prior to Perry. And maybe they would have discovered somebody else. If Perry wasn't the guy to transform the band, maybe somebody else would have been found and put into that role. I don't know. You know, everything is about fate. Perry was the right guy, though. Nobody's going to say, again, it's like when I was talking about Lou Gramm yesterday. Nobody's better than Lou. I'm not arguing that Kelly Hansen is better than Lou Gramm. I'm arguing that these guys should understand that they can't do what they used to do anymore. They just can't do it. And running along and pretending that you're still that guy. I mean, one of those interviews, I think Perry was asked, about his voice, and he's basically saying, yeah, that was my bionic voice, and I think he was implying that he can still sing like that, but he chooses not to, or I don't know. It just was very open ended. Like, I don't want to put anything in the minds of my audience that I've diminished at all as a singer. And I think people would prefer the honesty. Just tell us, can you do this still? Can you not do this? Humility would be, look, I used to be able to sing these songs really well. Arnell has taken my place and has done a great job keeping this legacy alive. Yesterday with Lou Gramm, it's like, yeah, Kelly is stealing all of my licks, which I think should be flattery. It should be, hey, he's really trying to be authentic and make Foreigner sound like Lou Gramm's Foreigner. And when Arnell came along, people were saying, oh, he's just a Perry clone. He's just a Perry clone. And he doesn't really sound that much like Steve Perry. I think early on, he was trying more to sound like Perry than he does now. I think he's just trying to be himself, which most fans appreciate that. Some people, though, will say, you know what? He sounds nothing like Perry, and I want to have nothing to do with this, right? I will just go back to the old Perry. I see both points of view, all right? This isn't like an existential question, though, for the ages. You turn on the news and things aren't going all that well. All this is an entertainment distraction. That's all it is. And for some of us who think the music is more important than the trademarks and the lawsuits and who gets control of what, and again, I'm not a businessman. I don't purport to be smarter than attorneys and accountants and all these people out there. So I don't have a dog in this as far as, well, they need to follow business practices and they need to write their contracts better. What they need to do is come to an amicable agreement of some kind where this isn't dragged out forever. Now, again, I have other motives, though, because it's good for the channel. People want to follow this story. And when someone puts out something that Steve Perry is pointing in the wrong direction, and he should point at Neal Schon's house and say, this is where I'm going to go, that's pretty interesting. That's a diehard fan who knows the geography and knows where Neal lives and knows where Perry lives and understands that maybe these two guys should just get together and talk it out. I don't think that's going to happen. Right now, what's happened is there's a real wedge between these two guys. This is like Russia and Ukraine, but worse in some regards, because I think someday there'll be a resolution to Russia and Ukraine. I don't think there's going to be a resolution to Perry and Schon. There should be, and throw Jonathan Cain in there too. There should be, but these two sides are now dug in. Neal was being diplomatic 2018, 2017, just, saying, look, I'd love to have Steve back. And this was before he filed the trademarks. Maybe Neal said, you know what, if Perry doesn't want to come back into this at all, I'm just going to continue on and do what I can to monetize what I can and, hopefully keep this brand going. And because they are doing the work, whether you like Neal Schon or not, Neal's doing the work. John's doing the work. Arnell, Dean, they're all doing the work. Jason Derlotka is doing the work. So in any event, people, it's interesting. The fans are smart out there, and fans on both sides, quite honestly. The people that like Perry, they know how to defend Steve Perry. They get out there and they say stuff, and you say, yeah, that's kind of true. That's partly true. Yeah, the Hall of Fame. But then there are some underlying things there that people might not know about. And This is the power of the media and the power of narrative. Like if a band puts out a narrative like, oh, Steve Perry, he's not cooperative, he's suing us, that eventually will start to gain traction. And Perry really isn't the guy to answer back. He goes out there and does some promotions, and maybe he's going to put out a couple of Christmas tunes, and that's what he's going to do. And he tends to be in the news when Journey is in the news. Journey is coming off a tour. Journey is now booking for next year, or they've already got a tour planned with Toto. So we'll see. Perry might have, a brief promotional period here with the Christmas season going on, and then we'll see what happens next year. What's sad though for Perry fans is that Steve Perry doesn't want to perform for people, and he doesn't have to perform in Journey. I mean, he could do a black tie Christmas, event where, you pay $1,000 a ticket or more to see Steve Perry in a small location, intimate location with Steve Perry and a few of Steve's musician buddies, right? And they do some loungy versions of Journey songs, and they do the Christmas music, and I bet you that would go over pretty big. It would be a great idea. You'd make a ton of money, and you wouldn't have to do it more than a couple of times. If you wanted to do just a couple of venues and do it maybe every single year before Christmas, since it seems that Perry is kind of reliving his childhood a bit with all of this Christmas nostalgia. I think a lot of his fans would be into that. Personally, I'd rather see a full-blown rock band. I haven't gotten to the point where I just want to see, a lounge singer come out and perform some songs. I don't mind that, and I like that kind of music for sure. But I'd rather go see Journey with Arnell, seriously, or I'd rather go see another band playing, their catalog. I think to me that would be more interesting. But I guarantee you, people would show up to see Steve Perry doing, an intimate show, dressed up. Maybe Perry could put on those tails like the old days. I think that would be a huge thing. All right. I'm rambling. I don't know when this ends, people. It ends when they settle this, and then, it'll quiet down. But I've got one source that tells me this is going to go on for a while. I've got another source that says they could settle this at any day. So it's one or the other. It's probably not both. Maybe somewhere in between. Here is Grand again. You can just listen to this. These are guys that are, you can just go out and get this if you want. You can stream it. And this is a band that's totally about the music. There are no lawsuits pending with this band. Nobody's fighting over the ownership of the trademark. You might even be able to buy some merch from these guys. I think they probably have a website. You can check it out. But go over to Frontiers Music or go over to Spotify, whatever you do. Give it a listen. I think it's pretty good. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Smack that bell for notifications on new videos. Some weird stuff's going on here with the algorithm, so I need your support. This has happened before. If you want $1 a month over on Patreon, is very helpful. It makes up for some of the stuff going on with the algorithm. I'm also on Odyssey and Rumble, particularly Odyssey, because they have a new membership program that you can sign up for over there, which would, again, help me build my channel across the other streaming platform known as Odyssey. All right, I am done. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.